When first presented with the challenge of designing an action research project for the EMDT program at Full Sail University, I was at a loss. What could I do? How could I add to the body of knowledge about educational media and design? I brainstormed and fretted and was generally frustrated in my efforts to find an appropriate subject. One day, while talking to some of my peers at the local high school, they mentioned how frustrated they were with the progress of their professional learning communities. These PLCs were implemented at the beginning of the year and were organized by a department. The common complaint was that we were not given enough time to make the PLC effective. And face it, we all lead busy lives. As I learned more and more about the cutting-edge technologies that were being introduced to us at Full Sail, it dawned on me that if teachers could communicate with their team members when it was convenient, rather than only during the weekly one-hour meeting, the collaboration would increase with a corresponding increase in the PLC's effectiveness. I began doing research on what was taking place in the world of social networking and how professionals were using it. All of the literature for my research came from the web. This was such a new field that virtually no books had been published regarding this subject. My first attempt at this was to establish a Facebook page for the special education department at the high school. I sent a pre-survey out for the teachers to give me a baseline for my data and recruited the teachers to participate in the research. The original idea was for teachers to be able to interact with each other during the workday at their convenience so that the collaboration time wasn't limited to the weekly meeting. I created the page and sent out the invitation to join and complete the survey. The lack of participation was overwhelming. 2 out of 5 invitations sent were sent back, and no one wanted to join the Facebook page. I tried direct calls and face-to-face meetings trying to generate interest. I was met with a lot of resistance, not only from the teachers, but also from the administration, which refused to allow me to unblock Facebook for the teachers so that they could access the site during working hours. The teachers were concerned with not only the privacy issues, but also with the fact that to participate, they would have to do so after their workday. I did informal interviews, gathered what data I could, then stepped back and tried again. Cycle 2 of my action research project was more carefully planned. Using the ADDIE model, I determined the outcome that I wanted and how to achieve this goal. I knew that Google Docs was not blocked in the district, and in fact had been being used by many teachers. Although the social networking aspect of the site was limited, I knew that real-time collaboration was possible in Docs, and that it was easy and simple enough to use, that teachers could be up and running with a minimum amount of instruction and limited technical support. I also expanded the scope of the research to include not only collaboration between members of PLCs, but also to instruct teachers how they could use Docs with their students to create a more interactive and collaborative learning atmosphere in their classrooms. I collected a series of instructional videos, organized them into easily accessed groups that allowed teachers to view them at their convenience, and sent the links along with the pre-survey that again allowed me to establish a baseline of data. All the videos were accessed via Google Docs, and while the actual digital media was not on the page, links to the lessons were. Using Docs in this way gave participants more experience in using Docs and gave them the feeling for what they might do on their own. After completion of the videos, and tasks that included setting up a Google account for their PLC in their classroom, I sent out a post-survey to gather data on how their use of Docs had been used, and if they anticipated that the future use of Docs could enhance their professional career. The results from the second cycle were both disappointing and encouraging. The responses ranged from those having no interest in utilizing docs in their classroom or their PLCs, to those who are already using docs to some extent in their classroom and are ready to extend that use to expand the effectiveness of their PLCs. While I gathered no information about the ages and teaching experience, I personally know that the two extremes of dismissal and acceptance were from teachers of similar ages and teaching experience. This gives me hope that with the exposure to new methods of communication and technology, that they will be integrated in a rapid and positive way in our schools. It is time for us to leave the paradigm of the traditional school system and embrace the immense sea change that is happening in the world around us, while keeping in perspective the need to give our students the needed basic and critical thinking skills that will be necessary for them to be successful adults.